Hey, what's up guys? Jacob Legacy 4x4 here again, and today we're back finally working on my 1990 Ford Bronco. So today is going to be the first installment in a series of videos where I build out the back of the Bronco to have all of the luxurious camping equipment that I want this Bronco to have. With that said, let's go and get started. So in this video, we're going to be doing the drawers in the Bronco. So my basic thought here is I've got the whole back of the Bronco there, and I need it to have a place to store all of my equipment, have a kitchen, and then it's going to be the frame for my bed, my mattress to sit on top of. And so that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be doing the drawer frame. Now, to do this, I've got some 2x2 by 1/8 inch square tube, and I've got some pieces of 3/16 tube or a 3/16 plate as well. And then the mainstay, the big item here that we're going to be using is these full extension drawer slides. So these are 60-inch full extension drawer slides that are going to go in the back of the Bronco. I've got a total of 4 of them. Got a total of 4 of them that I'm going to be using on this build. My basic concept here is I want to have 2 drawers, one on the left, one on the right of the truck. The one on the left is going to be all storage stuff. It's going to be where you put clothes, equipment, backpacks, things like that. It's going to be your storage space. The drawer on the right is going to be the kitchen space. So I'd like to have the ability to basically slide out the drawer and then have all of the kitchen stuff you need, a cutting board, the grill, propane tanks, etc., all right there, easily accessible, and give you a nice work surface to work on. Now these drawer slides are really cool. These drawer slides are full extension drawer slides, so they're 5 foot collapsed, and then they can come out a total of 5 additional feet, making them 10 total feet long. But the real benefit of these drawer slides, now these are pretty expensive, the real benefit here is that these are heavy duty weight rated drawer slides. So at the very end of them, when they're fully extended, they can support 500 pounds, which should be more than adequate for what I'm going to be doing, hopefully without having the need to have some kind of a drop down support system. If I have to add a drop down support system, I will, but that will come later on in the future if I determine it to be necessary. Now, let me take you guys out to the Bronco. We're going to walk through what the back of the Bronco looks like. I'll talk through the rest of the design, and then we'll get started on this project. Alright, so coming out to the back of the Bronco, you guys have seen all this stuff before. We've got our side walls where I've got some wiring tucked up. We've got our outlet panel, and we've got some switches that aren't hooked up to anything right now. And then up front there, we have our sound system, and we have our solar and inverter system for power to this truck. Now back here in this area is where I want to do the drawer slides. So as you can see, I've got the 2 fenders that kind of poke up a little bit on the back here. I want to make the drawer slides, or the drawers, go right up to the top of the fenders there. The idea being that the drawers will sit underneath the fenders and then the mattress will sit on top of it, maximizing my headroom in the back of this truck. So maximizes headroom while also maximizing the width that I have for a bed back here, because I'm a little over 6 feet tall. I want to have as big of a bed as possible in the back of this truck. Now I'm going to do some vertical risers basically that mount into the bed of the truck here and run the length of it. There's going to be a total of 3 rows, so 1 row along this side, 1 down the middle, and then 1 on this side as well. What that's going to do is that's going to give me the option to have everything fit below that fender rail and then have plenty of support to do the mattress bed frame on top of all this. So let's get started. Alright, so back inside here, we still got the drawers on the table. I've cut out a few of these pieces of 2x2 square. These are 1/8 inch thick, and then I have 1/4 inch thick piece there because that's just what I had on hand. This is all scrap metal that I had sitting underneath my table. I also plasma cut by hand because Matt has the big plasma cutter because he needs it for what he's doing up there. I've cut out by hand some 3-inch by 3.5 inch rectangles. My basic idea here is to take these rectangles, weld this tube onto the top of it, bolt these rectangles into the floor of the Bronco, and then bolt the drawers into the side of this tube here along this face. Now what that'll do is that's going to give me plenty of places to bolt these into, as well as providing the vertical support I need to have a mattress and to have my body laying on top of it safely. So it's a relatively simple build, but by the time you start doing all the drilling, all the nut certs, all the tapping, all that kind of stuff, this is going to start to take a little bit more time than what you would initially expect. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. We're going to start by making these different pieces. So I've got to make a total of 9 of these. I'm going to do 3 on each side, or 3 down each row, to mount these drawer slides too. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start by cleaning off these pieces of plate steel that I plasma cut. We're going to clean these off, drill some holes in these, and make these look nice and pretty. Weld on our upper supports, and then we're going to start drilling holes to mount these drawer slides too. Alright, let's go ahead and turn on the welder and let's get started. So we got these parts out of the oven. Again, not the greatest powder coat in the world, just because I didn't clean anything and I kind of did it kind of quickly because I'm trying to get this thing done today. But they will work. They're going to live in an enclosed area anyway. It's not like you're going to be able to see them. I'm going to block off the whole space. You'll see later. Anyways, I've got 2 of the drawer slides in right now, and now we've got to mount the last 2. So the way I've been doing this, I pre-drilled some holes in these. I'm going to drill these out the rest of the way, put some 1/4x20 nut certs into it, and that's what's going to be mounting these drawers up. I'll take you guys outside and show you what the drawers look like, at least the first 2 of them. We'll mount all of these up, and then if we've got time, we'll do some crossbars and some other support, and if not, you'll catch it on the next video. So anyways, let me take you guys outside, and I'll show you guys what this looks like so far. All right, so moving out here, you can see I've got the center row of crossbars in right now. The way these work, you press down on this little blue handle and this will slide all the way out like so. It's got plenty of structure here. It's going to have more strength to it once I get more of this built. These little tubes by themselves are not strong enough to hold all the weight I want. So that's what the whole purpose of the crossbar is going to be once I get that installed here pretty quickly. So we've got it going though. I am running low on 1/4" hardware, so I need to go get some because this one's a little, the head on the back bolt there is a little too fat, but it serves for the mock-up purposes, which is what I need right now. So it's coming along nicely, as you can see. I think it looks pretty clean back here, and you can start to see kind of like the idea of what this is going to look like. There'll be a big drawer sitting here, and when you press on this, it'll slide out, and you'll have access to all of the stuff inside the drawer. So I'm pretty big fan of what this is looking like so far. Now, if you have not used nut certs before, they're pretty simple. They're these little brass things that I have in my fingers here. You do need a nut cert tool, which I have a cheap one off of Amazon that works pretty well. I have an air over pneumatic one as well, but honestly it's easier just to use the hand one. You just thread the nut in onto that, and then you will press it into the hole here. This one currently doesn't have a big enough hole on it, so the hardest part, honestly, of using nut certs is getting the hole diameter to be correct. Now, unfortunately, I'm actually running out of drill bits somehow, so I'm going to just use a stepper bit to pull this through to the right size. It'll be close enough, so I'm going to drill out this hole, and then we're going to press in one of these nut certs. I like to have one on hand, like a loose one on hand, so I make sure I get the hole to the right size. Once you've threaded it onto the end of your tool, you put the arms all the way out, press it into the hole you just drilled, and press away. Now, if you do this too much, if you do like too big of a hole, the nut cert will spin. And if you try to over tighten this too much, you will never be able to get a screw in there. It'll distort the thread. So So you want to have it just tight enough that you can thread a screw in, thread a bolt in. Like that. Now, if you do over tighten them, they can be removed pretty easily. You can either drill them out, put a tap retrieval tool on them, something like that. You can drill these out if you need to, but that's how you use a nut cert. So I'm gonna do the rest of these real quick, and then we're gonna go install these last 4 posts into the truck. All right, we actually got this all finished up already. I know I didn't quite get to doing the bed frame portion of this yet. I'm gonna save that for a later video because I've got to do some wiring and finish up some stuff in the back end of this truck before I'm ready to put the bed frame down on top of it. But we got the drawer slides into place. I know this video might seem a little bit short and like all I did was make 6 little uprights for this, but I promise you this was actually a ton of work. It took me all day to get these 6 uprights done and get them installed into the truck. Now, once we get eventually onto doing the bed frame and onto doing some other stuff, it'll start to look a lot better. The next step is going to be drawers though. So I'll show you guys what this looks like and then we'll talk through the rest and the next couple steps of this project. All right, so moving back here, you can see we've got our 6 uprights. I initially planned on doing 9 uprights. However, with the way the bolt holes are, there's not room to get a 3rd row in the back there. So I'm just gonna do 2. Now what I'll do is I'll come over the top of these uprights here and I'll run a crossbar going across it, across both of those, and I'm gonna tie it into the wood and into the rest of the structure that we have back here. So there's gonna be plenty of strength back here. The goal is to make those crossbars removable though. So that will be a larger project once I clean up in here and I get myself some steel. I'm gonna need a whole sheet or a whole stick of steel in order to finish this. But the biggest thing is you can see, you come over here, you press down on our drawer slides and they open all the way out. So hard to imagine right now because we don't have anything on it, but this is what this is gonna look like. So you'll have access with the tailgate down, you'll have access to this whole area here to cook and to prep and do everything else. My hope is to have a cutting board on this end and then to have the cookware and stuff in here as well. Now, when we get to the drawers, I actually have one more set of these drawer sliders. I have a 30-inch set of these drawer sliders. I'm gonna install these in between on this side, on the kitchen side here. I'm gonna install them in between this so that you can actually have a 2-stage pull-out. Now, all I wanna put on that second stage is gonna be just the cutting board so that you could pull that out, have the cutting board, have the sink, whatever, farther out outside of the truck. So you'll get actually a full 8 feet of extension out here. Going back into the inside, you can see all of the drawer slides work. Now, you obviously will not be able, this won't be very useful if all of these drawer slides are out. Need to figure out why that one didn't come out all the way. This obviously won't be super useful if all the drawer slides are out, but it gives you the option. The idea being that you put the propane tank here on these little side racks that we mounted before. I got the propane tank up top right now. Put the propane tank here and you can run the grill right here. And then you have all this as prep and storage space for kitchen equipment. And then over there you can see that'll be all just bulk storage. All right, so we've got this all completely finished. Like I said, about as far as I'm gonna get for the day anyways. So I would have liked to have gone a little farther. I would have liked to have gotten the upper slats for the bed installed, but I think I want to deliberately design that and take my time and come up with a way that's going to both reinforce the vertical supports we have in there as well as provide the structure for the bed. Originally I thought I was going to have 9 of the vertical supports, and so that would have provided enough separation to give it the strength. I don't have that, so I'm going to have to come up with a different design for that than what I originally intended on. Anyway, so after that, we've got to do you'll have a video for the upper bed mattress frame mount, and then you'll have a video for the drawers, at least one video for the drawers. I might do one just for the storage drawer and then do a separate video just for the kitchen drawer, since they're both pretty, I think they're gonna be both pretty interesting videos. I've got some good ideas in my head that involve the 3D printer and a few other things to make these a really custom kind of slick setup. Anyways, we got that all finished up. Everything fits perfectly. I'm really happy with how that turned out, given that it was a relatively simple way of mounting all this stuff into the bed of this Bronco. So with all that stuff done, tomorrow I'll head to the store and I'll get the wood. I think the first thing I'm gonna do is probably gonna be the drawers, because I wanna get the drawers done before I do the upper terrace, so to speak. It'll just be easier to work on everything in there with the drawers in place, but without having all the upper support stuff installed. So I'll probably do the drawers first and then do the upper terrace. I've also got to run through and do some wiring and some cleaning up of some stuff as well, which I'll probably do off camera. Anyways, I hope you guys like this. Be sure to follow along and make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next video working on my 1990 Ford Bronco.